We've had too much discussion in the last couple of weeks about minimum wage, and minimum wage causing like a ripple effect of those individuals that are already making more than minimum wage that may want to bump because everybody else got bumped. Do you have concerns about that with the $45,000 teacher salary, or those teachers that are making more than $45,000 and people getting bumped up, that their delta between the lowest paying and theirs isn't enough? Do you have any concerns about that?
I don't have too many concern about that.
And I'm assuming that it's not in the $13 million, that you're not making any additional monies available for that.
Currently, the proposal is that funding to bring them from the floor up to the 45, and I can just share with you practically what I mean. I've given this some thought, especially as the governor was processing it and wanting to propose it. And I thought, so I've had the fortune or misfortune to work in two school districts that struggled financially, and what my neighboring school district starting salary impacted me more than what the actual state said. So if my neighboring district was starting at 45, knowing that I worked in a large urban district, I went 45,100 or whatever that additional dollar was. I just wanted to make myself competitive, and I think that is going to impact those teacher salary in the CBAs more than what some of the recommendations we're making today.
And I understand in the question I heard that the wording presently exists. You're just changing the number from 18.5, I believe you said, to 45,000. Is there any concerns about a school board manipulating negotiations going forward, to knowing that the state's going to pick up the difference, to not start teachers at a certain salary? Is there any wording in there that protects the state in that regard?
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges.
Not to be a cynic, but I just...
Well, not that anyone would do that, right? I think, of course, I mean, having 500 locally controlled school districts, that's always a concern with everything we do, every decision we make here in the Capitol, and I think how we address that is being as comprehensive and transparent as we can be around the intent and the language. I mean, I think about it, and even as I thought through this process, how we try to combat that on everything from from charter school to other education decisions is better understanding the intent of the General Assembly and communicating and articulating that intent with absolute fidelity. So if we do that, if we're really clear about what the intent is, then you have that balance of the local school board and the collective bargaining agency, kind of negotiating that accordingly.
And full disclosure, two of my four daughters are teachers. One just graduated in December and makes well above $45,000 a starting salary, but she's in Maryland. So,
the governor wants her back.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. Changing gears briefly, I had heard your discussions you had earlier. I can't remember if it was Representative James or Representative Ollett about pre-K issues, and I had heard you say 900 kids will be taken care of through the Head Start, additional funding in Head Start, and read in the budget book 5,500 kids altogether. So I assume that means 4,600 additional children in pre-K counts. Is that a fair assumption?
I'm pretty sure. Let me validate the numbers so I don't put anything on the record that's incorrect. So when we look at specifically 5,530 additional children to enroll in the high quality early learning program. So it's 5,530 new slots in both pre-K counts and Head Start. And in total, 27,670 in pre-K counts and 7,000 in Head Start.
Okay. You had said 900 additional in Head Start, so I assume that means 4,600.
930 additional in Head Start.
Okay. And you'd also mentioned that like 55 to 60% of children are still underserved. Do we have a number of how many kids that is?
No, I don't have a number. I can pull that out as a number, but it's still 60%. It was a year ago it was 59 point something, and now I think we creeped back up to 60% unserved that qualify under the federal.
If you get that number, I appreciate that. And lastly, our increased funding is budgeted a $40 million increase on pre-K counts, and we just figured out about 4,600 additional students. Quick math, that's about $8,500 per student. Does that sound right? Does all those dollars go into children, or are they going somewhere else?
So it's formulaically driven, so in terms of, we put it out per slot for the program. I don't want to give an answer without looking at what some of the specific trends are, but I know.
If you could just opine on, in writing about whether you figured that's about the right number. Thank you.
Absolutely.